Happy Rusev Day, everyone, and welcome to NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com. Real quick, I would like to thank Jason Voorhees for filling in for me during this Tuesday night's NoDQ Dead. I do appreciate that, but now it's time to get back down to business. Jason's honking outside, but he's not allowed in here. It's just me today doing NoDQ video. Got your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag PAIV or PAIV1 for a first-time asker. And by the way, this coming Wednesday, NoDQ.com's 19-year anniversary. If you're following me on Twitter, you will have a chance to win a free NoDQ.com t-shirt. So make sure you're following me on Twitter. I will announce the winner. One random follower will get a free NoDQ.com t-shirt this coming Wednesday, November 8th. The 19-year anniversary for NoDQ.com. Now with that being said, let's get down to your questions. First one today comes from Manny Hernandez. Do you think Chris Jericho will get heat from WWE for working with the Young Bucks? For those of you that missed it, and you can check it out on NoDQ.com if you did miss it, the Young Bucks have been announced for Chris Jericho's upcoming cruise next year. Now, we all know the history between WWE and the Young Bucks. WWE sent the Young Bucks a cease and desist notice over the too sweet hand gesture. Now, will WWE not want to work with Jericho because of this? I doubt it. The thing is, Chris Jericho is one of the few guys that can get away with this. Not only does he have the star power, but Jericho has other things to do. Jericho can do whatever he wants, basically, and WWE has to deal with it. You have guys like Jericho, you have Batista, you have The Rock. These are guys that have other projects, other things going on in their lives besides WWE. So they are not at WWE's mercy. If WWE got mad at Jericho, Jericho would say, well, fine then. I'm done. I'm off to do something else. WWE doesn't want to burn that bridge with Jericho. They want to continue working with him. And yeah, they're probably not thrilled about it, but at the same time, there's not a whole lot they can do because Jericho can very easily walk away and not come back to WWE and not think twice about it because Jericho, he has his band, he's made plenty of money over the years, he can wrestle in other areas if he wants to. Jericho has other options. Not a lot of people do, but Jericho is certainly one of those guys. So maybe there might be some heat, but it's not like WWE is really going to do anything about it. This one comes from Bloog. Do you see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn interfering and costing Smackdown the Survivor Series match now that they're both not in the card? Interesting question. I have gotten this question from a few people, so you're not the only one that is wondering, is this going to be a factor in the Raw vs. SmackDown Men's Survivor Series match? Will Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens sabotage their own brand because of their hatred for Shane McMahon? I think it's definitely possible because you would think that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to have some kind of role at Survivor Series, and as of this video, there has been no official announcement about what Zayn and Owens are doing at the pay-per-view, so maybe that will be the storyline, and that will be the reasoning for SmackDown losing to Raw because of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and that'll set up something in December with Owens and Zayn against Shane McMahon and maybe Shane and a partner. They'll do some sort of tag match in December. I could definitely see something like that happening. So we'll see. That is one way for SmackDown to lose without looking too weak against Monday Night Raw by having that screw job at Survivor Series. And yeah, that's fairly typical to have a screw job at Survivor Series, but from a storyline perspective, it would make sense and it would be a good out for SmackDown for them to lose and be able to save face to some degree. Got this one here from Vinny Carr. What are your thoughts on Darren Young, Emma, and Summer Rae getting released? Do you see them going to the Indies? Hashtag PAIV1. So Vinny is a first-time asker. Vinny, I'm not sure if you caught the video I did with Virtue. We did a breaking news video where we discussed the 3 releases in depth. So you may want to check that one out. But after a few days of thinking about it, I'll give my updated thoughts. I'm not surprised about Summer Rae at all. She's been off television for a very long period of time. Darren Young, I was not surprised, but the only thing I did find surprising was that literally the night before he was at the Clippers game, there were several WWE stars there in attendance, and that I think is a little bit of a surprise, the fact that he was still doing anything with WWE and then all of a sudden they would cut him. Now with Emma, it's interesting because we were all wondering what's going on with her. After Virtue and I did that video, she did post something on Twitter, a heartbreak emoji con or whatever they're called on her Twitter account, which leads me to believe that she did not see it coming and she was upset about it. I think it's interesting because if WWE was going to cut her, why have her be in a competitive matchup with Asuka? Not once, but twice. That was the only thing that surprised me. I think that if Emma had lost decisively to Asuka, then her release would have come as less of a surprise. That's just my take on it. As far as them going to the Indies, I could see all three of them doing stuff in the Indies, at least short term. I mean, it's common sense for all three of them to try and capitalize off their WWE fame and get as many indie dates as possible, unless one of them is just completely done with wrestling and wants to go on to something else. Summer Rae might just continue doing modeling or do something else. Emma, I think you're definitely going to see on the indies and she'll keep wrestling. Same thing with Darren Young. I think Young will be on the indies, but you know, once that revenue dries up from getting all the indie dates, somebody like Darren Young might go on to do something else and move on to a different career. But then again, he might be more determined to rebuild himself, just like Drew McIntyre, and who knows, maybe one day we'll see Darren Young back in a WWE ring. So it's really hard to say with all three of them, but I think of the three of them, Summer Rae would be the least likely to really continue moving forward with wrestling as her career. I mean, she could definitely do modeling and other things. Emma, I think, will try to rebuild her career and keep going on the indies. This one comes from Smirtaza. Hey Aaron, will WWE induct The Undertaker into the Hall of Fame next year as an active wrestler, same as they did with Sting? I'm not sure. I don't think WWE should, in my opinion. I think Undertaker should go into the Hall of Fame once he is 100% done. Because, think of it this way. Undertaker has never broken character on WWE television. He always stays in character, and even for the Hall of Fame ceremonies, Undertaker doesn't show up. He doesn't appear on camera. For Undertaker to come out there and do the speech, I don't want him to come out there in his gear and be the Undertaker. I want the man behind the gimmick to come out there and tell the stories of his career. That's what I would like to see. So the day that Undertaker goes into the Hall of Fame, I think that is when the character should be laid to rest, so to speak, once and for all, and he can come out there as Mark Calloway and give a great Hall of Fame speech, an all-time classic, just talking about his career and the character over the years. So once he does that, once he breaks the character, which is something he's never done on WWE television, that should be it. That should be when he is 100% done. So I don't see it happening, and I don't think it should happen. I don't think he should go into the Hall of Fame and then have another match after that. I don't think that should happen. This one comes from Cruz. What was the bigger impact? The SmackDown roster beating up all of Raw, or the SmackDown roster coming out and beating up only Brock Lesnar? I'm guessing he's asking what would be the bigger impact. I think what they did was perfectly fine. I think 15 guys beating up Brock Lesnar, what's the big deal about that? 15 guys beating him up. I would hope they could beat him up. If 15 guys could not beat up Brock Lesnar, then your SmackDown roster would be largely buried. So, yeah, I definitely think SmackDown beating up the Raw locker room is a lot better for SmackDown. Yes, it was an ambush attack, but still, it was the SmackDown guys against the Raw guys, one side against the other, only it was an ambush attack. So I definitely think what WWE did was perfectly fine. I had no issue with it, and I definitely think it was more impactful than them beating up Brock Lesnar. Now, maybe if Jinder came out and beat up Brock Lesnar on his own without anybody's help, maybe that would be a good way to set up Lesnar versus Mahal. But beyond that, I wouldn't have anybody else attacking Lesnar. Just would not make sense. And when you're doing Lesnar versus Mahal, why would you have other guys attack him? Just doesn't really work into the storyline. Got this one here from Josh, and he has a mouthful. Josh is taking advantage of the new Twitter feature where you can have double the amount of characters. Not everybody has that luxury yet, including myself. So what's up with that, to quote the Hurricane? After watching your panel video about the Attitude Era, which year do you think was the best year of the Attitude Era? Personally, I think 99. It had so many memorable moments. Any thoughts on a few favorite memories from each year of the Attitude Era? Well, even though most of 97 wasn't really the Attitude Era, I really enjoyed Raw is War during that period. I've been watching some of those Raws from 97, and the whole Hart Foundation versus USA storyline was very entertaining. The rise of Steve Austin. There were so many great things. The rise of DX as well in 97. And 98 might be my favorite year of the Attitude Era, when the Austin McMahon feud really kicked into high gear. You had all those classic Austin McMahon moments. Austin coming out on the Zamboni attacking Vince, the hospital segment, the cement truck, Bang 316, the rise of The Rock that year, the storyline with DX versus The Nation. So many great angles and storylines. Val Venus, The Godfather, all these new characters coming in. 98 might have been my favorite. 99 had a lot of over-the-top storylines. Definitely some controversy in that year. You had the Mae Young thing. Actually, I think that was 2000. But you had Mark Henry and Sammy. You had the corporate ministry, the Ministry of Darkness, all that stuff. Big Show coming in. Mick Foley becoming WWE Champion. So each year was great in its own way. In 2000, of course, had Kurt Angle, the Radicals coming in, Austin's comeback, a lot of different things in 2000. But I think personally, I like 98 the best. I think overall 98 was the best year in wrestling history. WWE was on fire. The Attitude Era was hot, red hot, and WCW was still hot. The Monday Night War was really at its peak in 1998. So, just overall, I say 98 is the all-time greatest year in wrestling history, in my opinion. This one comes from Resident Sleeper 22. Alexa Bliss beat Sasha Banks with a simple DDT and Mickie James with a punch. Isn't it a bit weird for a heel to win clean with basic moves? I'm okay with it happening every now and then. I like it. And I'll tell you why. The fact that it can condition fans to believe that a match can end at any time. I think sometimes it's a problem when fans are only conditioned to believe that the finish is going to end a match, the finishing move, or a signature move after 3 attempts. I like it when a completely random move ends a match. I think if WWE keeps doing that every now and then, fans will be more conditioned to believe that a match could end at any time. That's why sometimes I like matches being really short. Yeah, long matches are great, but sometimes I like a 60-second match or something where a match ends out of nowhere, just because it makes things a little bit more unpredictable. When you don't know when the match is going to end and you cannot predict it, I think the crowd heat will be stronger in the long run because fans will be more invested not knowing when the match is going to end. When it's predictable, then they're just going to sit there and say, okay, let's wait until the babyface makes his comeback. And of course, the guy's not going to kick out of one finisher. He's got to get hit with 3 of them. Even though, to WWE's credit, even though I'm saying this right now, fans buy into the first signature move as a finisher. So whatever. If it's working, it's working. But for me, I like it when things are changed up. And yeah, I like it. I do like it when a random move ends a match. You don't want to do it all the time, but I like the idea of every now and then throwing it in, maybe having somebody win a match in 60 seconds or a minute and a half, something like that, just to change things up and keep fans guessing so every match isn't predictable. This one comes from Andy. What are your thoughts on Samoa Joe staying heel after his return? Personally disappointed but not surprised. The crowd loves Joe, but it does make sense right now because Braun Strowman has just turned babyface. Strowman needs a strong heel. I would love to see Samoa Joe versus Braun Strowman in a big feud, and I think that's going to happen at some point. Maybe WWE will do that for WrestleMania. So right now, it made no sense. With Strowman turning face, you know, you don't want to have too many baby faces. You want to keep things balanced. So with Strowman turning babyface, you want to keep Samoa Joe as a heel. You need some strong heels. And Samoa Joe can definitely cut a promo to get the fans to turn on him. We saw that on Monday's Raw. So I'm fine with Joe being a heel for now. I think when he does turn face, he'll be a great face. But right now, it's just not the right time. It was the right move to turn Strowman babyface. And you need a strong heel. So I think Joe will be in a better position being a major heel and getting to feud with somebody like Braun Strowman rather than being a heel beneath Braun Strowman or being a babyface beneath Braun Strowman, because Strowman's going to be one of the top faces now. And with Reigns and the Shield, you got your top faces. Samoa Joe would be beneath those guys. But if he's a heel, Joe is going to be the top heel to feud with guys like the Shield and Braun Strowman. This one comes from Boogeyman79. How bad are the Fashion Files, and do you see room for them on the roster? I have found the Fashion Files segments to be mildly amusing. Every now and then there's something that I laugh at. But overall, I think they're pretty silly. I think it's just time filler. But at the same time, it's giving them something to do. And you need some comedy on the show. So I'm not totally against it. You need some comic relief on the show. Just like on Raw, you have Heath Slater and Rhino. You got the Fashion Files and the Fashion Police on there. And it's giving them something to do. It's giving them a purpose on the show. So I'm fine with it. I don't think it's the funniest thing in the world. Every now and then they do something that legitimately makes me laugh. But not often. You know, it's just your cheesy, goofy, over-the-top comedy. But it's fine for what it is. And I think there's a place for it when you need some kind of comic relief in between serious segments. This one comes from ASG. Sin Cara brought out his aggressive side. I know he's advertising shoes at the moment, but will he go back to being Hunico again? I don't think so, because how is Hunico really marketable? It's the Sin Cara mask and character that WWE is marketing. The mask, WWE wants to sell masks. That's what it's all about. That mask is what makes Sin Cara / Hunico marketable. And that's why he continues doing that gimmick. I don't really see the need to make him Hunico. The mask is what is defining the character right now. But yeah, I think the whole fact that he signed a new contract with WWE, they're giving him this renewed push, and maybe it'll work out for Sin Cara, this new aggressive side, and you know, maybe play up on the fact that the guy is actually really tough. You know, we all heard that story about him in that backstage fight a few years ago, and the guy apparently can hold his own in a real fight. So why not play up on that and take real life? We've seen it so many times before. You take real life and you implement it into the storyline, and maybe this will work out for him. But I don't see the need in him changing the name and taking off the mask. The mask is definitely keeping him marketable. You could sell t-shirts with the mask. You could sell all sorts of things based off of the mask. This one comes from James. What's going on with Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson? Don't get why WWE is using them for a comedy act. Well, unfortunately, not everybody can be pushed. And yeah, I'm sure these guys could be pushed a little bit better. They definitely have some credibility as tough guys, but at the same time, they also have that humorous side, as we've seen on the Southpaw Regional Wrestling. And I like the fact that we're getting to see a little bit more of their characters, because as much as I like them as tough guys, when they're not doing the characters, they really don't have much personality. So I do like them being able to show some more of that character and personality. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Unfortunately, they're not being pushed as the top heel tag team. And that's because you already have Cesaro and Sheamus in that role. So unfortunately, they're stuck in a bad position right now. Maybe that'll change. Maybe it's too late. I really don't know at this point, but I do know a lot of fans are upset about it. I think they could always do something with those guys, though. Maybe turn them babyface and give them a fresh start as a babyface tag team. When in doubt, you can always turn somebody and turn things around with their characters and take their characters in a new direction. So I'm not saying it's too late for them, period, to be able to regain some credibility, but I think it's definitely damaged a bit. It's just a matter of these guys being able to find something that really connects with the audience, entertainment-wise. And, you know, some people feel the Southpaw stuff is doing that, but at the same time, some people feel the Southpaw stuff is going to keep them held down at a certain level. So we'll have to wait and see, but I think it's also important to experiment and try different things, and you never know. Something these guys do might catch on, and that'll give them a whole new lease on life in WWE. You just don't know. Alright, that will wrap things up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Thank you as always for watching and supporting the channel and the website. I really do appreciate it. Please keep spreading the word. Word of mouth really helps. This Wednesday, November 8th, is the 19th anniversary of NoDQ.com. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I will be giving away a free t-shirt to one random Twitter follower. So follow me if you're not already, twitter.com/AaronRift. And also on that day, Wednesday, November 8th, I will be doing a special NoDQ Live to celebrate 19 years. Stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys next time.